G'day friends, welcome to today's YouTube video. My name is James, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new. My washing machine is going in the background, so let's deal with that as I go through January 2024 Collage Club set of printables. I have this here with me today because I wanted to show you where my first page came from, and that was all these lovely little doodles. It is the new year, and I felt like we should do something to celebrate, so I have a folder full of goodies here. There are 6 pages in this month's set of printables, and this is the first page, and this is all the illustrations that I did for it. It's one of the things that I wanted to show you because I know I rave on about not enjoying working in Procreate or like working digitally and doing the iPad art, but this is one of the things I actually do enjoy doing on it. These retro kawaii characters, you might remember from Virtual Voyage 6, we did a whole bunch of these, and they kind of came about, I don't know when they started, but a few years ago, I think, and I did a rally stamp. So for my jlb Creative meetups, we had some rally stamps. Anyway, that's where that style all kind of came together, and I've just enjoyed doing it on the iPad ever since. I always usually draw them out first, though. I just can't ever replicate that monoline, very flat look without doing it on the computer, on digital. So that's just kind of one of the things I felt like I would actually show you. There's some other stuff in here too, like this is, I do that kind of rally stamp, the passport stamp for Virtual Voyages, for those workshops. This is my thank you for your order sticker that I put in my Etsy orders. This is also in that retro kawaii style. I change things up from time to time, like the eyes, and sometimes I'll change different little features, but for the most part, it's a very blocky mono line, which means like the line is the same line weight all around. You can see it's just one solid kind of blocky line, and it's just very sparkly and cute and very Japanese retro looking. So I really love that, and I felt like that would be a great way to kind of theme a whole spread for New Year, and it's the year of the dragon. So there's a cute little dragon motif going on here. They're all kind of different versions of the dragon. It was reminding me of like Turning Red, Mei Mei, this little Mei Mei here. Even though she's a panda, but the kind of idea that a human turns into a panda. So this human turns into a dragon. So there's different states of turning into a dragon here. Anyway, I don't really have a name for it or anything. I just thought it'd be a cute idea. I've kept a kind of simple color palette that's a little pastel and purple for the most part. And I put some journaling sentiments that kind of had stuff to do with the new year, just things that I was thinking about. Obviously the big 2024 and Journal More 24. I kind of like to rhyme. More 24. That reminds me of that song, More. How do you like it? How do you like it? Doing my absolute best. I always just think that's a good kind of sentiment to hold on to when you're going through the year. A lot of people don't like to celebrate the kind of turn of a new year, and other people really love it, and it's, you know, fresh start, fresh me. I'm indifferent. I really don't make kind of New Year's resolutions or anything. I just like to go about my life with the same kind of idea that I keep always in the back of my head, and that is quality of life. And so I wanted to put that in, not as like a quote or a sentiment of the year or anything. It's kind of just something I always think about, that my choices are all kind of directly and indirectly impact the quality of my life. And so I should be careful to choose things that would give me the life that I'm actually looking for, or just be intentional about it. You know, sometimes we just move along and have kind of, I'm not even going to go there. Why am I getting so deep? It's a collage club video. But anyway, quality of life is something I'm always kind of thinking about. So I wanted to put that sentiment in there, obviously for myself, but hopefully you could appreciate that as well. It's always just something interesting to think about when you're making decisions. And January, because it is. And this is a little like character kind of lettering thing. You can see I've done every other one is kind of themed to each other. So each, I don't know why I'm explaining this, but sometimes I make these little rules up to myself, and it helps whenever I want to make like a derivative, or if I want something to kind of match this aesthetic. There's a whole bunch of motifs that I will pull out of it to replicate, and that way I can kind of create in the same vein, in the same style. And so for these letters, like if you wanted to do another bubble lettering that wasn't the word January, it's just simple to replicate. If you think, first of all, you have to alternate letters. So the J, the N, the A, the Y, those all have to be in the same family. And then the A, U, R, those are in the same family. Color palette, keep that pretty consistent. That's an easy way to replicate, you know, and kind of mimic a style. But also, each of these has 3 stripes. So you can see 3 stripes here, 3 stripes here, here. They're even colored the same way, 2 purple, 1 yellow. Each of these ones had ears. So there's little cat ears there, there's a bunny ear there, there's little mouse ears there. This one has a little tail as well. rabbit ears inside the Y. So those ones I said to myself had to have ears. And yeah, that was it. Ears or like, and something else. So this one had a belly, this one had a tail, this one had little teeth, and this one had a tail as well. So ears and like a little something. And then these ones I think were a little bit simpler. They all had cheeks, so you can see the little red dot cheeks, and this yellow and blue flower motif, as well as the eyes, obviously. This one I just put the tail and the tongue and the nose in just for fun. But those simple little rules kind of inform, like if I was going to put, you know, for some reason, if I wanted to put an S at the end here, I'd know that I'd have to follow this one. So it'd have to be pink as a base. It'd have to have a yellow flower with a yellow-blue flower in it somewhere. And wherever I put the eyes has to have those little cheeks underneath it. So it's really easy to kind of continue on with that style because I don't really give you every single letter. So if you were looking to kind of recreate that, just one of those things I tell in my workshops. Sometimes I make these little rules for myself. If you did playtest Patreon 3, I think I explained that when we were doing those characters, the what are they called? Playtest pals. I think I was discussing that there. Anyway, this is all, and then I put this little journal here. It's kind of like a traveler's notebook, but if it was laser cut to be 2024, I just thought that was a cute little addition. Anyway, we've talked enough about that. Can you imagine 6 minutes on one page? We're never going to get out of here. It's a new year. I'm excited. I just want to chat. All right, here's a page of faces. I've called this one in my files Beheaded, which made it sound a lot more ominous than it actually is. These are a whole bunch of heads that I actually couldn't fit into any other collections. You know, I kind of theme my pages now for Collage Club. And so I'll usually make a file name that says like fairies or mermaids or mermaids 32 because there's so many mermaid pages. I've got so many different themes going that whenever I do a big scanning session or I have a big, you know, I take photos as well to get some, you know, really accurate colors. I will put everything into the different categories that it kind of goes in, and that way I can theme full pages. So these were all just kind of floating heads, literally, and I didn't know where to put them because I felt like they also didn't speak to any specific style. Like I didn't know where that would kind of go, or this one, and these little collage faces that I'd done, they were all just kind of random heads. So that's what this page is, just a whole bunch of the miscellaneous, random, assorted heads, which I always think are really fun. They're super fun to collage with and really easy to kind of decorate and play around with. So there's some heads. This is a fairies page, so everything on here is a bit fairy-ish. I did this for Art Snacks. It's one of my favorite Art Snacks pieces that I've ever done, mostly because it was inspired by Gren's coloring book. Here, I'll show you. I put the original in here as well, like the black and white version, so if you want to color it in, you can color it in. Now I'm going to forget which one it is. It's very obvious because he's standing under a leaf. Oh, there, and I directly referenced that flower. Yeah, so this is the piece that my Gran colored in. I used the same colors for mine because I really wanted to directly reference it. But I kind of put a spin on the fairy and what she looks like and, you know, changed it up a little bit. For the most part, the flower is kind of a direct reference. I think I shortened those stems. But yeah, I really, really love it. Anything that I do that is inspired by Gran obviously feels very sentimental. So I enjoy sharing that with you. And put that there so you could color it in as well. This one was actually inspired by one from the book as well. This one was a looser inspiration. It was kind of like halfway between me and the book. But I really loved how she turned out. I haven't actually colored her yet, so it would be nice to get some color on her. But I put her in black and white so you could color her in too. The whole point with those fairies is that they are from Gren's coloring book. So I do like to give them to you black and white because that's kind of how I see them, is they're meant to be colored in. But if I do the coloring as well, I like to put them in. This is from I've just pulled the fairy out from my coloring competition for Merry Mix Media. I have to decide that today. It's the 31st. I'm going to wait until tomorrow because I want to make sure everyone gets their chance to put it in. But I'm going to decide the winner for the coloring competition over in Merry Mix Media. And then, so you'll know by the time you see this. This was the original fairy that I drew in my sketch. She actually is a bit different to this one. I put her legs together and I changed her face a little bit. The rest, I think, kind of stayed very similar, but I just like to have those two there. It's kind of before and after. One is obviously a lot sketchier than this very finished one. I really love her. Her yellow and green is just very Australia, and that specific, like this eucalyptus leaf, I think it is, or it kind of looks like a Banksia leaf to me. I don't know. It just feels very Australian native, so I really, really love this little fairy. And then this one is from my 5-year journal. This one's quite old. It was a redo of another piece. I don't know if I could find it. Look at this chunky monkey. You're going to see this flipped soon, so I won't try and spoil everything, but oh, there's no way I'm going to find it. There's so much in here. Literally 5 years worth. I mean, 365 pages, but no, I don't even know what month it would be near. Look at me still going though. But what it was is I had done one of them. Oh, it's probably near the front because I think it was when I got those concept stamp sets. My memory's slightly coming back to me. So here's an example. I don't know if I'll go find it, but I had done this in 2020, I think. And then years later, 2023, I redid it. And I did that for a few of the illustrations in this journal, just because I wanted to see how far I'd come. It wasn't like a direct reference of my skill or anything, but I was just curious to try it again. This is something fun to do. So this was the reproduction of one of them. And I have to say, I mean, I don't know which one I prefer better. I think they both are nice, and I like each for different reasons, I guess. This one feels really old though. This is one of my first stamp sets. I don't even know if I think I did sell this one, or it might have just been a sample that I got from the manufacturer. That old Decora vine that I remember tracing over 1 billion times. I'm gonna get my stamp sets out actually. I've been meaning to have a good old stamp sesh. But yeah, this was from my traveler's notebook, so you can see that long vertical orientation. This is from a Tomoe River paper notebook, I believe, as well, so it's got really beautiful watercolor mottling. This is a sketch from last year's Merry Mixed Media, I believe, the Nutcracker, but she's got little fairy wings, so I put her in there. She's the Sugar Plum Fairy. And then this one's kind of like a little dark sprite, like a little midnight. I like kind of how she just kind of pops out of the black there. And did a nice little square box cut. If you're using the silhouette files, just so that it would be nice and clean. I don't know, I've been experimenting with my little silhouette cutting machine. Like for this, I put the yellow background on so that each of my pieces will have a yellow border. It's a lot more sticker-like. I mean, obviously it's actually a sticker because it's printed on adhesive paper, but yeah, I've been experimenting with that. So that's page number 3. Page number 4 is a page of Wizarding Artists Society stuff. If you don't know, for years I've been a part of Art Journaling the Magic's Wizarding Artists Society, which is basically inspired by the wizarding world of Harry Potter. And I was a guest teacher there kind of every other month for a couple of years, and it has been sunset. The whole thing is finished now. It's all wrapped up, which is so bittersweet. Like I never really imagined that it would stop, but of course, you know, like everything, there's a there's a start and a finish. So I don't know, I didn't really even comprehend what it would feel like. I'm feeling very nostalgic about it now because it's been a journey of years together with this group of really wonderful people that just get really creative and inspired by such magical subject matter. So it has been really sweet. And now I have journals and journals and journals full of stuff that I feel like I'm going to share with you over time. I've already got another couple of pages kind of in process in my Collage Club working files, but this was just a page of stuff that I threw together for this month. There's a few little love potion bottles, this half muggle, half magical beetle. It's all themes that we'd covered in the Wizarding Artists Society. I think, I mean, after 3 years and like multiple, you know, themed holiday workshops as well, we kind of covered absolutely everything. So I'm excited to share more of that with you. I've shared a bunch of this in the past as well, but yeah, I don't know. Now it just seems a little bit more finite now because it's finished. I mean, obviously I can do whatever I want. I can keep going and being inspired by it. But yeah, a big, nice thank you to everyone that was involved with that, and a big farewell to that experience. I remember it fondly. So here's this one I called the Japanese kintsugi mandrake, the art of kintsugi, where you take the gold and repair cracks in pottery or earthenware and kind of enhance where it's been broken, the lacquer. So this was a mandrake that I did with that. There's a little fairy. I used my corner pieces stamp set and stamped a little fairy on top of the branch there. I really, really love this. I think it looks really cute. There's a goblin I drew when I went, I don't know if I did it there or if I did it when I came home, but from the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, the studio tour in London, the Warner Brothers one, they had all these goblin like busts and, you know, the masks and all this stuff, and I was just really taken with how intense that kind of transformation process was. So I don't really like drawing ugly things. I don't even really like drawing men, to be honest. I mean, I don't mind it, but I rarely do it. It's not my preference. So to draw an ugly man at that, very strange times we're in, 2024. Anyway, so there I put Little Goblin in there. This is not from the Wizarding Artists Society, but I feel like it fits so well. When we went to see Cabaret in London, this was the MC's costume. It had a really beautiful mint and maroon color palette, and I just loved that. But I thought his conical hat looked very wizard-like, so I put that in. This was one of the lessons I had come up with. I think it was called a loctopus or a loctopi or something. A loctopus? I don't know. Essentially, it was a little key that had octopus tentacles for legs, and it was like an open anything key, like a master key. So it would put like the tentacles inside the door and kind of adjust to fit whatever the lock was, and then it would open. But they kind of just floated around in the air with their little legs. It's so hard to explain everything because it was kind of all, you know, your own creation of what you would see in the wizarding world. We were just all expanding on our ideas of it. Mine was always very much, you know, whimsical and kind of childlike, a little bit girly, a little bit fashiony, a little bit beauty. I just liked all of that side to it, and I feel like, you know, that's the thing that I would go and explore if I could go be there. So you get these kind of like fashionista witches. She's like a herbology witch, but she's very fashionista. Another little mandrake. This one I think was, I took photos of these, so the colors are actually really accurate. Because this was all done in like really hot pink, and you can even see if you look close, there's some shimmer. You can even see the glitter kind of picked up in the photo. It is a lot harder of a process to edit, taking photos rather than scanning. Scanning seems to be just quicker and easier, especially to be able to remove the background, because I know it doesn't seem like much, but the thing that actually takes the most time for me with Collage Club is removing all the backgrounds and formatting it in a way so that by the time you get it, they're just very usable, clean images. Because if you can imagine, some of these journals have been battered around for years, and like there is just smudges all over them. There's cat hair inside them. I mean, it's not that bad, but it can be really hard to clean it all up, or sometimes to take out a piece that is in a book. Like this, for example. You know what? I'm gonna go get it. Excuse me. Hopefully I can remember which book it's in. I know it's in one of these. I have these little kind of, what are these called? Like book holder things? Not in there. These are some of my unfinished Wizarding Artists Society. Oh, there's the Mandrake, so I'll keep that one out. I don't mean to show you where everything came from. Sometimes I just think it is more fun to kind of see a little bit more. Oh, there's that Loctopile. And I just scanned these, so I knew they're all here. Great. Got it. Put that over there. I make such a mess when I film or like just do one simple task, and then I don't clean it up as soon as I'm finished, and I get mad at myself. All right. For example, here is the beetle, and you can see it's actually quite big, and it's on a swatch, and so is this. This is the witch here. She's on all of these big heirloom tomato color swatches, and it kind of bleeds into, like, you can see there's a book sketch underneath it. There's this, you know, little beast book over here. Everything, there's a big splotch of watercolor underneath. So sometimes just to extract that one image out so that you can see it's nice and clean, I'll have to like take all of that and then go in and completely remove all of the background, but then keep what I want to keep. So this, the hardest part of this was actually to keep all of the vine that twisted around her, because there were parts of it that didn't even really connect. Like you can see that leaf doesn't really connect there, but I put a little bit of connecting point just down there. I just, you would never notice it, but I notice these things. So that is what can take a super duper long time. Or then stuff like this, like I don't really think this is good to share because there's no clear way that I can cut that out, or like this part of the hat is missing that part because it's off the edge of the book. So sometimes I think, you know, in isolating that, you're actually just not even getting a full picture. So sometimes I'll opt out of doing that as well. Here's that Loctopi. What I really liked about this was all the beautiful watercolor modeling as well, but that just doesn't make sense to put on the page and like take up space, and then the cut line has to go around it. So again, I end up cleaning it all up. And it's so bizarre sometimes how big these things are and then how teeny tiny they are on the page when I'm finished. Sometimes I think I should put them in big, but then also like, who's going to use this that huge? I also don't mind having a different scale to work with sometimes. And then, oh, I've scanned these kitty cat cups for another month. Those are in my next Wizarding Artist Society journal page. Here are the mandrakes. This was another one that was really hard because you can see there's swatches under there. There's this big gold leaf that came through. I filled all these extra areas. I usually like to fill all the negative space with other things. So that's why it can be a little bit difficult. This one was really hard to cut out. And then taking all the leaves and getting rid of all that blue. It all has to be done manually. Just to give you a little insight into how some of those decisions are made. Because if you have seen the journals, you might be wondering, like, why didn't you choose that? Or why isn't that in there? Some of it I'm just not there yet. And it is coming. And then other things, you know, maybe I don't have the time to cut all of them out. Some things just scan really well. But you know what? I don't like journaling in a way where like there's just one picture on a page and there's nothing in the background. I like my journals to be really full, so it can be a little difficult. Anyway, some witchy, a little unicorn, a candle. That was just a super random addition, but I put it in there. And there's a little witch sitting on a fireplace with a three-eyed lamp. Just gives me very like jazz bar vibes. So I like her. Thank you so much to this page. I've been chatty McChatty Cathy today. And here is the last page, to page number 5. I was testing out a bunch of Crayola markers, actually, to see if any of them still worked. Like, no, that's not it. That's an Ecoline. I don't even know where I put them. It's probably in a box somewhere. Anyway, so a lot of them did work. Some of them didn't work. You can see the ones that didn't. I thought the whole thing was a really nice swatch page by the time I'd finished. And you can always use a nice swatch page to decorate your journals. What I like to do with these is grab photos, or even if you've got ephemera, just pretend this is a photo. Just stick it right on top and then cut my border out so that everything feels really nicely framed and placed. Obviously, you can cover a journal with it or print it on some kind of transparency. That's really something that is nice to look at as well. This is the original swatch page. I don't love this as much as I actually love this, but I wanted to share this with you because it is nice and bright and colorful, and sometimes people just aren't into the insanity that happens when I start to play around on my Photoshop. So this is that. It just looks like someone did an X-ray of like, it's like an X-ray of a fairy or something. Like, it's just so whimsical and beautiful colors. I love the colors. I love this kind of bleaching effect that you can see. What I did was just do a whole bunch of manipulation to the colors, but I also copied it and flipped it on itself, so you can kind of see there's a repeat in some places, but there aren't in other places, but it's got this layering effect. The original was just swatches next to each other, so you can see the open white space. This doesn't have that white space because I essentially flipped it and then filled in the cracks with the squares. So I really love how this turned out. I think it's really, really beautiful, and I don't know what I'm going to use it for, but I'm excited to use it when I do. And that is everything for January 2024. I'm keeping Collage Club $5 a month. We haven't changed it since we started in 2021. 21, 22, 23. Yeah, 2021. And it's still a a limited use license for up to 100 handmade products with the images that you get in Collage Club every month. I just ask that you are a subscriber at the time that you are selling those handmade products. And then the subscription is per month, but there are all the other months that get rotated out. Those go to Etsy for individual purchase on Etsy. I do have to update that because I'm missing a few of the most recent months, but there are a lot there already. So if you've missed anything, when you go to Collage Club, there's a back catalog for 2021, 2022, 2023. You can see every single sheet that was available every single month. So you can kind of categorize that a lot easier and go and search for them if you're missing some. I always recommend that you download them, but you don't need to print every single one every single month. There is a lot to use, and some of them are just very specific, themes. So maybe you're just not feeling particularly magical this month. You might just want your January 2024 and some heads. That is fine, but always download them, because once they're rotated out and they go to Etsy, they're not available in your subscription anymore. So that is that. There's 4 months of subscription at a time. Sorry, I'm just using this opportunity to explain, just in case you've never heard it before. There's 4 months at a time. So at this moment, you'll get January, December, November, October. So that means September will have just been rotated out. I need to go do that for tomorrow. So 4 months at a time. And there's always a minimum of 5 US letter-sized sheets. Now, I print mine on adhesive paper. Sometimes it's matte, like this is a matte paper, and this is a gloss. The gloss obviously kind of makes it look like stickers. The matte makes it easier for me to work on top of if there's things I want to color. Obviously, you can just print it on regular copy paper or any kind of paper you like to print with. I use an inkjet printer. I'll always link it in the description box below, and the paper, if I can link that as well. So this is, I think this is Koala brand gloss label paper. I really like it because it's very thin. It's not the best for photos. I usually print photos on this as well, but the photos, when I put it in my journal, it kind of picks up if there's like a staple underneath it. It's not very heavy, like it will pick up the dents underneath. But for things like this, for ephemera, when I'm adding it to journals, especially like my 5-year journal that is super duper chunky, I don't want a super thick paper. So I've really enjoyed this Koala brand. I don't know, it's not super consistent though, because when I first ordered it, it was a little thicker. So now it's getting thinner, and I think, well, if they're doing that to cut costs, I mean, it works for me. Sorry to everybody else. I'm fine with the thinner paper. And then I use my Canon MX922 printer, which is just an inkjet printer, and a silhouette portrait cutting machine, which is actually kind of this big. It's very compact, and you can use it without a cutting mat. I rave about the Silhouette Portrait 3. I've been using it for years, and I just love it. So anytime I make these cut files, I actually give them to you as well. They're not guaranteed every month. They're just something I do extra for myself, but I put them in there just for you guys as well. And then sometimes I'll just, like, for instance, today I wanted a smaller version of this. When you open that Silhouette file, if you want a smaller version of it as well, you can just select all of it and drag it smaller. The cut lines will drag down with it as well. As long as you use the corner of the bounding box and just drag it down together, they will all shrink. So if you want to, you can actually copy and paste it onto a new page, and you can put 2 of them side by side and just have double and print them smaller, and the cut lines shrink down with it as well. So I love using the cutting machine. It's the easiest way I've found to use the most amount of ephemera. Obviously, I like to resize and have multiple options as well. I've got so many journals going that I do need multiples. And then I did manage to put this in your collage club as well. So if you're someone that uses a folder, you'll find that in there. I have 3 of these 1-inch folders at this point, for kind of like one for each year that I've had. They're not in any particular order. Oh, look, this is the heads page too. And then I just hole punch them on the side, stick them all in here, and now it's ready to go. And this is how I use so much of my ephemera. And this is how I get it all into my journals. It is so nice. Like I've never used more ephemera in my entire life. It's so much easier than trying to cut it out every single time, and because it's adhesive, you don't need to use glue. I know it's a bit of a process and a setup to get going, but if you're someone that really wants to do it this way, I'm sure you have the patience to figure it out. Look, these aren't even in at the moment. I just wanted to show you because I've got a whole bunch of, must be in here. I've got a whole bunch of papers that are finished. Oh, here, this is how many, and this is not even all of them over the years, but this is like in the past year, this is how many pages of ephemera are completely used up. Like this stack. Sometimes I'll use even just this edge bit as well. I'll cut little bits off if I need a little label for something, especially the matte, because this just becomes like sticky white paper. But once I'm finished with it all, I showed this to you last week? Not last week, last month? I don't know when I showed it to you. When it's all finished, I weed the back of the paper off so that I'm just left with the transfer paper. And then I fold them in half and glue them. You can see the cut line still on here. And make them into these little sticker books, sticker release books. And they're traveler's notebook size, so they fit really nicely into one of my journal covers. And then I can take these on the go. This is a bunch of Collage Club stuff. Like say if there was one sticker left on here that I just wasn't going to use at that moment, I'll just peel it off and put it in here. But yeah, I got a couple of these. This is my newest one. And even this is a weeded sticker sheet. Sometimes I won't even like take the stickers off. I'll just staple them in here as well. I'm actually going to go and do this in this book today because I have a whole bunch of random sticker sheets, or like this. This is not a sticker. This is like rub-on transfers. I'm just going to pop these in here as well. If I don't staple them, I'll just grab some washi, because I mean the transfer, you don't want to staple that in there because you want to be able to actually use it. But I'll just use some washi tape, put that in there, and then everything's nice and safe and totally usable and easy to get to. Yeah, there's some more. Alrighty. Have I chatted your ear off enough? I hope you have had, because I'm sure it'll be the first by the time you see this, a wonderful start to your new year. Thank you so much for being a part of Collage Club, or just watching this video out of morbid curiosity for what we're doing over in these parts. I'm really excited to start a fresh year of journaling in my new Hobonichi 5 year as well. This I'm still working on finishing up, and I can't wait to get a flip to you because it'll be a fully finished 5-year journal, which honestly isn't something I see a lot of. So I'm excited to be amongst the crowd filming those videos this year. And yeah, I'm just really happy to keep going. I've got lots of journals to work on. In fact, sorry, hijacking the video. This has become my favorite little journal right now. I lie, the 5 year is always my favorite, but I've been using this this year. Oh, here's some Wizarding Artist Society stuff. And originally I was only sketching in it. This is one of those ones that I told you I found at Riot Arts and Crafts that was on super duper sale, like right when I started art journaling. I actually brought them over from Australia, and it's kind of cardstock. It's not watercolor paper though, it's called drawing paper. And it's the Diario Grafico. Yeah, no idea. In art, we haven't found them. People have been looking for them. If you can get your hands on the drawing paper one, it's a beautiful hardcover. It has such thick, like beautiful quality cardstock for paper. It doesn't work super the same as watercolor, but you can obviously still use your water-based media on there. And I've just had a blast in here doing all my journaling, like my art journaling, my drawings and stuff. This was all playtest Patreon. I really like looking at this because this is kind of like an homage to like all the people that I learned from when I first started art journaling, and you know, the influences. So I don't know, this just feels very special to look at. Anyway, this is also super random, but this was, I had a little ID holder when I worked on Disney Cruise Line, and it was full of all these little cards, like, actually they're here. This little cafe fanatic card, that was for the cafe on board. I got these drinks rewards cards, but I had these stickers, and when I used to do greetings on the ship, I would, if I just had like kids in line that were just chatty, or I don't know, super excited to see their characters, or they had their autograph book out, I would give them these little stickers and they'd put them in their book. And this was the little set of stickers that I had in my wallet, my little document wallet, my ID card holder, that's what it is. I used to wear it on my hip. It was one of those, like, anyway, it's just super sentimental to me because this is the one I had when I got into my car accident, and that was the contract that I had to leave. And so when I had all my personal belongings delivered to that hotel room to go home, I saw I had my ID with me on my bag, but this is what I had to keep with me. And I just remember it being full of like my ID and all this stuff. And then I just saw these little pack of stickers, and I don't know, it just brings me back such good memories. I'm feeling very sentimental looking at that. It's so wild. Isn't journaling great? Here's some Collage Club ephemera from December. So this is a beautiful journal that I've been drawing in. I did my Daisy Style workshop in here. I love the feeling of drawing on this paper. I just can't even express it enough. It's super smooth, but it's so like thick. Gorgina. So after I'd been drawing in it, I actually had just a bunch of ephemera. I think this was kind of the first ephemera that I had around Halloween time. And I thought, you know what? I'm really not going to do anything to the rest of this page because it was just a page for this sketch. So I started adding in my ephemera in here, which is not unusual. Like, that's exactly what we do in journaling. But for some reason, I just thought, no, this is a sketchbook. Like, it doesn't need to be a big old art journal. Wrong, wrong, wrong. Now it is absolutely going to be my art journal. I'm not going to put junk in it per se, because obviously I've still got my big jumbo journals for that. But like Christmas, in my jumbo journal, if you saw that last video I uploaded, I couldn't figure out where to put Christmas because I wanted it to be its own kind of special, beautiful looking spread. And as big as those journals are, there's something on every single page at this point. So there wasn't enough space to put all of these like address on the envelopes to Steve and James, and I just like keeping all of those. It's just, I feel very sentimental about it. Also, I like how people put it, like Limonis Burke family, or Steve Limonis and James Burke, like just how everyone writes it. It just feels very special. So I use this to put my Christmas ephemera in, all my Christmas photos as well that I got sent from my family, my beautiful nieces and nephews, some of the ephemera that I drew for Collage Club, this cute little photo, and all the stamps. I keep the stamps as well. So here is a lot of that stuff. I got to do a bit of journaling in here. Here's my little Christmas spread. My card from Art Snacks. Art Snacks send the most beautifully luxe Christmas cards, if you don't know. Thank you, Art Snacks. I'm always so impressed by the quality of their Christmas cards. Yeah, so that is where I ended up putting it. Now it's getting a little bit thick, but it's okay. There's not a ton of pages left, and I don't mind. These books, as beautiful as they are, I usually do end up cracking the spine on them, and that's completely fine. I've got one from 2016, that even with a cracked spine still holds itself together, so it'll be fine. She'll be right. Anyway, so that's what I'm really loving at the moment. They have an elastic too, so it does kind of keep itself together. The elastic stretches out like crazy, so does it really help? I don't know. I love it. I love it so much. Okay, I gotta go because I'm gonna just chat your ear off. Thank you so much for being here. Hope you enjoy all the information of Collage Club January 2024. It's exciting to start a new year with you and just to keep it going. Why fix something when it's not broken, right? I know last year I teased that I might change some things. I'm not doing it. I'm only changing when I absolutely have to. That's what I've decided to. Maybe that should have been a sentiment. Only changing if I absolutely must. All right, thank you so much for being with me. I'll see you again soon. Happy New Year, everybody. Bye.